This is the Atari 7800 Pro system. It's the predecessor to the Atari 5200. Came out in '86, I believe. The joysticks look a little something like this.
Cosmetically, they look great, but ergonomically, it's one of the worst, or maybe the worst controller I've ever used.
Well, the gimmick with this joystick, or these controllers, for this hybrid of the Atari is that there are two fire buttons, and each fire button takes on a different action. It's not just the same action with every game that you get. That's pretty cool. And also, only in Europe did they release this for the Atari 7800, which is the joypad. It's like a little Nintendo joypad, pretty much the same thing. Got your two same buttons right there, joystick there, but it was released only overseas.
And I think the reason it was, this may be, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it's because this system actually was popular over in Europe, right? It maintained popularity longer than it did here, right. And the NES was out when this system was still had a fan base,
right?
And therefore they probably adapted, Nintendo style controllers because they realized that they were just more comfortable and worked better.
Yeah,
isn't that? I think that's why they came.
That's true, and it also came along during the end of the Atari 7800's career. So never just caught on, never had time really to catch on in the U.S., but nonetheless, it's really awesome. I highly recommend it if you ever collect Atari 7800 seriously.
So we got power, pause.
Yeah, that's another feature that was a little different. Actually, the Atari 5200 did have pause, but it was on the joystick in which you activated the pause. It wasn't on the actual unit itself like it is here.
And we've got standard select and reset, which has been on all Atari systems since the 2600. Or was it on the 5200?
Well, it's on the joystick. The joystick is for the 5200. It's a keypad and joystick all built into one, which was well, that's a whole different story.
Did this one have A and B selector like difficulty?
Yeah, they're on the back.
Okay, and the controllers plug in the front. All the other cables plug into the back.
Yeah, and also you can play any Atari 2600 game cartridge on this system, or at least almost any Atari 2600 game cartridge. There are a very specific few that do not work on this system, but for the most part, that's,
if you think about it, that puts it in a pretty elite group. The PlayStation, Sony PlayStation, and Nintendo's Game Boy are the only other systems that have featured backwards compatibility. So it puts in a pretty elite group. Also, this came out way before those systems, so that's very cool.
Right.
Did this one have A and B selector like difficulty?
Yeah, they're on the back.
Okay, and the controllers plug in the front. All the other cables plug into the back.
Yeah, and also you can play any Atari 2600 game cartridge on this system, or at least almost any Atari 2600 game cartridge. There are a very specific few that do not work on this system, but for the most part,
that's, if you think about it, that puts it in a pretty elite group. The PlayStation, Sony PlayStation, and Nintendo's Game Boy are the only other systems that have featured backwards compatibility. So it puts in a pretty elite group. Also, this came out way before those systems, so that's very cool. This is Karate for the Atari 2600, made by Froggo Games. It's a fighting game, action game, where you compete against another player. It's a one-on-one fighting game, comparable to something like Karate Champ, or it kind of looks like the old boxing game.
For the Intellivision?
Yeah, boxing.
Two different I guess, selections. One is that, it's one-on-one combat, you versus whoever, and the other is you versus the computer. And
has different moves too. It was one of the it's a system that's still being used today in the Tekken games, where you choose a direction and hit a button to choose what type of attack you're doing. So it was in Karateka also for the 7800. What direction you're pressing determines what type of attack you're using. Froggo made it, and they were a company that appeared late in the 2600s life, right?
Right, and they only developed a few games, mainly because at that time the 2600 was sort of dying out. It's pretty collectible. It's certainly a hard game to find. I'm playing against the computer right now. I'm the reddish pink guy who's not very good. The computer is the blue guy. But anyway, whoops.
Just got knocked down.
This is just sort of a standard karate game. It's got a high punch, a low punch, a high kick, and a low kick. And I'm not sure what just happened.
Maybe if you get back, it just recenters the camera, kind of.
Yeah. But this game was developed by Froggo, who have been criticized on taking shortcuts and ripping other people off, and not a very good reputation. The gameplay is sort of poor. You got to be a really hardcore Atarian to like this game. The best thing to me personally about this game is when I do get defeated, I sort of hang my head down in disbelief.
Shame.
Yeah, complete shame.
Disappointment.
You'll probably see that shortly.
But myself, I'm impressed. That's when he was just rethinking his life.
Yeah. Why did I ever begin doing this?
I'm very impressed by this game. See, what impresses me is, think about the NES, the 8-bit Nintendo. There was a limit to how tall they could make the sprites. And look how big the guys on. I mean, this is like Super Nintendo. These guys are as tall as Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. These are very long, tall, strong characters.
Also, if our heads had like just a little more extension on them, we would look just like E.T. from the neck up. I think.
Well, now the belts are different colors, and I wonder, a yellow belt looks like you just went from a yellow belt to a yellow wrist. Did you see that? Yeah. Oh, well, forget the whole belt thing. And the green belt here. The graphics are acceptable. It's just that you have to get so close to your opponent to hit them. That's what's disappointing. I mean, they should have thought about the fun factor a little bit more. Like, make it to where there's some extension. I mean, even that kick right there. Of course, now that I think about it, that may be due to restrictions of hardware. They may have to fit within like a certain size grid. That might have something to do with it.
And if I just run up and run around, well, let me say that again. Yeah. Anyway, something else about this game. If you would just run up and try to maybe get on the other side of the guy, it'll sort of reverse the angle. There you go. See, now I'm on the other side of him. It's not a big deal or anything, but I just thought I would mention that.
Now, how does the control work?
Well, if you just push the button, he stands still and punches.
Now wait.
It's just up, right, left, and down. It moves just like it should. But you got to push down and push the button to punch him in the midsection. Push to the left and push the button, and he does the high kick like that. And then push the other direction in the button, the right, I guess, and he'll kick the midsection like that. This game is so, I mean, it's just so, it's hard to play this and talk about it. It's just so weird.
I'm losing power. Ooh, black belt.
And now the guy's a black belt. I'm still a rookie at this, and now he's even more aggressive, and I am a weakling. I'm doomed.
Notice that when he kicks, the yellow belt, I guess it's loose, it slips down between his legs.
I never noticed that.
The belt doesn't move. And also, at the top of the screen, the guy who was originally on the left score is on the left. The guy who was originally on the right score is on the right. So, looks like Mr. Red is at 230 and Mr. Blue is at 570. And also, there's a time limit counting down, and you can see what happens when it gets to the end of the time limit, the victory dance and the moment of repose for the loser.
And now the game is over, so it does actually have an ending, which is good, but it just depends on how much Froggo karate you can stomach.
This is the Karate Kid, released in 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, developed by LJN Toys. It is a side-scrolling action game and a fighting game combined. You can play mini games to make your character get more special moves, and there are special moves in this game that are taken from the movies.
And now the Karate Kid for the 8-bit Nintendo system. Nice music.
This game has a one-on-one feature, which is pretty cool. You can play against another player, and it's got 1 and 2 player, and the 2 players alternating on this setting. But the one-on-one, you can actually fight against another player. And this is a really good fighting game. This is like the tournament. You have to get out of the tournament before you get into the actual game. But one neat thing is like B is attack and A is punch. I just got killed. And you also have special moves, the crane kick, which is from the movie This. And the drum punch, which is, it's really cool. You activate them by just hitting the button without hitting a direction. Like as I press forward and hit kick, he just kicks. But if I don't hit a direction and just hit the B button, he does a special move. But it takes up a C out of the upper part of the screen. You can see B is attack and A is punch. I just got killed. And you also have special moves, the crane kick, which is from the movie This. And the drum punch, which is, it's really cool. You activate them by just hitting the button without hitting a direction. Like as I press forward and hit kick, he just kicks. But if I don't hit a direction and just hit the B button, he does a special move. But it takes up a C out of the upper part of the screen. You can see. Okay, I see I'm earning C's, and now I can use them. Like, didn't really help, but. And up is jump too, by the way. And you jump in any dark areas to try to find a hidden game. See, here's a great one. You can pretty much see what's happening here. Oh, almost got him off. And see, I earned crane kicks and drum punches that way. Now I'll show you the drum punch. Here we go. I'm going to use it. Well, not on these guys. I can't. Okay, hold on. I'm going to use it here in a second, I promise. Okay, here we go. I'm going to use it on the next phone. See, it's like a double punch. It's from the Karate Kid 2 movie where they use the little, remember those little toys that they twirled back and forth? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. And they're throwing cabbage at me, in case you were wondering.
In Japan, it is an insult to throw cabbage.
Okay, just turn the next man. So sometimes you kind of have to use your imagination when it comes to finding. I wish I could get something other than this swinging hammer. Yes, I did it! Here we go. Check this out. I'm not even gonna... This needs no explanation. Oh, God. I did it.
Yes.
See, now, the game's worth any price to pay now. Look, there's a villager who's been hurt. I just saved him. I think I got a 100-point bonus for kicking that cabbage. This level is a little bit more difficult because of the way it's laid out.
This is a really good action-packed game. It really is. And with the hidden bonuses and the little hidden mini games, and it really looks like it's really been well thought out. There's a lot of Nintendo games that are similar to this that are just totally boring, but this is not bad at all. This is pretty fun.
Oh, the crank it also gives you more life. Okay, so. Okay, that's alright.
Oh. No, that's not alright. It was released in 1987. It's just a basic fighting action adventure side scroller. It's a pretty common game, but it's a really fun game. It's got really good graphics. It sort of moves slow compared to other 7800 games. That's what's irritating about it. But the graphics are good. It's a really difficult game.
I've never beaten this game, and it's still, some nights I just wake up with tears in my eyes just thinking about, will I ever beat this game?
Will we ever save the princess?
I mean, she's trapped inside this cartridge, and I mean, we've had this game for...
since it came out, probably in 1987.
So she's pretty much been trapped inside that cartridge for, let's see, about, 30 years.
Since Mount Fuji was formed.
Yeah.
This is Karateka. This is Karateka for the Atari 7800. It's actually a pretty good karate game. It's really tough. I remember many nights of frustration playing this game. And the music is horrendous because it's the same thing over and over. Listen, it fades away. But anyway,
but this game does have the you can see the story scrolling up the screen. You know, this is, you know, it was an ambitious group of people that made this game trying to, you know, make it have that polish of a movie. I always thought it was funny how the words just stopped there. They didn't bother to make it continue scrolling. But the game has feeling to it. You know, they really tried to make it like a story.
You are the player on the left. The computer is the player on the right. The bluish looking guy with the long white, I guess, hat. I do really like the animation of the punching. When you land a punch, it has the little exploding pow.
Oh yeah, button number 2 makes you get into a defensive stance like that. And look how good the graphics look. He really looks like a fist, you know. He looks like he's really ready to fight. I honestly think it looks cool. So when you hit the button, it's still doing it. When you hit the button, it makes you go into a defensive stance. Now, if you hit the if the enemy hits you when you are not in a defensive stance, you're dead. One hit will kill you. You can only run like that when you're not in a defensive stance, and that's how you go to the next guy. Now, when you're in a defensive stance, you have to hold in button number 1 to move forward, like that. Hitting a direction without pressing a button makes you do the various attacks. And forward is kicks and back is punch. So basically, directly, right and forward is a straight kick. Up and diagonal forward is a kick to the head, and low, down diagonal is low. Down and up doesn't do anything, but back high punches high, medium, and low.
And that's pretty cool. And also something else that's a little extra with this game is the little shadow formation under your feet.
Oh, here's a little progression of the story. Never seen that girl again because I have never beaten this game.
You've almost got it.
Oh yeah. And now I'm ready to run off and save the princess. Pretty good running animation. So if you choose the right attacks and try to keep a good distance, you will do really well. Also notice your energy builds up if you're just standing still. So if you back off, well, that's it.
It's short and sweet. There's no second life, third life. Once you die in this game, that's it.
Has a lot to do with timing and positioning, which is really frustrating to me. Okay, it's not there. Okay, now we get to watch that little sequence.
Is she topless?
She looks like a mermaid to me. Okay, now see, the bad guy's got a lot more energy than me. So I'm objecting right off the bat. It's backing off. Okay, I got it. That was a bad time to close in. Ah, that was a close fight.
As you can see, the bird is attacking the face of of the Karateka.
See, the thing is, I think you can ward off the bird if you with a properly timed attack, but
we never got really good at this game
because it has a lot of good ideas.
But the animation of the bird looked really good. I think all the animation in this game is really good. It's just the the way it's moves so slow, it does make it frustrating. But overall, it's a really good game.
It's a regular DVD. It works on all DVD players. It was put out in arcades by Sega in a hologram machine, and it was developed by a company that goes by the name Hologram Time Traveler Incorporated. That was obviously a name they made up just for this project. But Sega put it out in arcades, and it was actually in a machine that projected a holographic image. That was a first, and I've never seen it since. But basically, it plays like your normal Laserdisc game. The gameplay consists of video that plays, and you just watch make selections by using the controller, and just basically watch how the game plays out. You see if you made the right choices or not. It actually comes with 3D glasses for the 3D mode. It has a 3D or 2D mode.
I am Kyla, Princess of the Galactic Federation. I've journeyed through time to find you. We need your help. This is Volcor.
This is Time Traveler. This game comes with 3D glasses, and there's a 3D version or a 2D. I just picked the 2D.
Now left. Next is right. Right. Cannot be shot. If you die, use the cube to reverse time and escape death.
And you use here you select where you want to go, but it is limited where you can go. You use time reversal cube by hitting enter right after you die. As you're dying, just hit enter.
You could have used the time reversal cube!
What do you think?
No, it's pretty cool. It just takes a little getting used to. This is good. It just takes a little getting used to is all.